Well, I guess we will go ahead and get started. So welcome. We're gonna, my name is Elizabeth Elliott. I'm with the Office of Downtown Development in the Department of Community Affairs. I am the Downtown Preservation Planner for our office. On the call, we have Ellen Hill, who is, you've heard a lot from the last couple of weeks. Um, she's the one that keeps everybody straight and make sure you get your assessment in on time. Then we have Tess Harper, who is in charge of our marketing and communications. And then we have Ebony Simpson, who is our planning guru. And we have another introduction here in a second, but we're going to wait for that. We're going to keep you on your toes to see what we might be announcing. And other than that, I just wanted to see, do we have any new managers on the call that want to introduce themselves?
Hey, I'll introduce myself.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Carly. I'm not new. I started back in March of last year, but this is the first call that I've actually joined and not just watched back. So it's nice to meet everybody.
Wonderful. Thank you so much I'm so glad you're able to make it live and in person. And I hope you enjoy the content that we have for you today. And it's very nice to see your face and meet you. Okay, well, our big announcement for today, which we're very excited to introduce our new fearless leader of the Office of Downtown Development. We're very excited to welcome Cherie Bennett as our new office director. Cherie, you want to tell the group a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. Y'all, I'm so excited about this new opportunity and to be able to join the Office of Downtown Development. I wanted to tell y'all a little bit about my background. I know a lot of y'all, but don't know if y'all know my background, so that you would know that to see kind of what has led me to this job and wanting this job. I am a native Georgian. I was born in Cordele and grew up in the city of Montezuma. Um, Went to undergrad at Mercer in Macon and then got my master's degree in historic preservation from the University of Georgia. And then my first job, yay, my first job out of UGA was in downtown Augusta at Historic Augusta, which was a private nonprofit historic preservation organization. And I worked a lot with the local government there. I helped staff the Historic Preservation Commission and wrote National Register nominations, worked on tax credit, historic preservation tax credit applications, did fundraising work and membership work, and also wrote a lot of grant applications. And after doing that for several years, I realized it would be way more fun if I could be the one that was giving out the grants instead of always writing those grueling grant applications. So I was able to get a job at the Historic Preservation Division as their federal and state grants coordinator. So I was there for about 6 years before I started working at DCA, and I've been at DCA ever since then. Have had various roles there. I started with the Office of Planning and Quality Growth. So I was a regional planner, basically for my historic preservation background, and worked in Region 6, so that's Bibb County and the surrounding counties. And then moved down to the area. So I now live in City of Forsyth, Monroe County. And then moved from Office of Planning and Quality Growth over to be the Region 6 DCA rep for that area. And then moved over to the Office of State Economic Development, where I've been for the past 12 years doing several different programs. The DDRLF, the Downtown Development Revolving Loan Fund, I've worked with lots of Main Street managers and DDA managers on that, and also the Tourism Development Act program, the Opportunity Zone program, and then most recently for the past 7 years, I've been working with the Rural Zone program. So working directly with downtown managers as Rural Zone team leaders to promote growth in rural downtown. So that's really where my heart is, and that's my background. So I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much, Cherie. Anybody have any questions they want to ask Cherie? We're going to put her in the hot seat. So don't be shy if you have any questions. And this goes, and I forgot to introduce our lovely regional reps who are on the call. So after we get done with the Q&A for Cherie, we'll all throw it to them so they can introduce themselves as well. But anybody want to ask Cherie? Do you have anybody have a burning question about anything that she has spoken about or the future of the office?
Congrats.
I have a question. Oh, sorry.
Thanks, Jason.
Hi there. Welcome to the team. I'm Tori. I'm with the City of Louisville. I've been here since May of last year, so it'll be a year in May. But I have a question for you if you want to speak more on the historic tax credits and your process with that. So I'm learning a big part of what I'm learning is different forms of funding and supporting my community. So you really have a deep wealth of knowledge in that. Just thinking on how you introduce those opportunities to your downtown, the process, in short, the process of applying for that and just the procedures going forward.
I am so sorry. I don't think I caught everything you said. Elizabeth, did you hear all that she said?
Yeah, so she was sort of asking about the historic tax credit process, and I'll be honest, Tori, that is a very nuanced conversation that's probably better for another call.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Cherie, maybe we can just do like, what was your part in the tax credit process when you were with HPD? And sort of what was your little bit touching on the background of like how you touched the tax credit process, maybe?
Right. I did it more, I would say, when I was working for Historic Augusta. So I worked with different businesses who wanted to take the tax credits or wanted to try to take advantage of the tax credits, businesses and homeowners at the time that wanted to take advantage of the tax credits, and helped them to fill out the applications, because you do have to present the rehab work that you're planning on doing to the building, the interior and exterior work for that, and have it approved before you move forward, because you have to ensure that the work that you're going to do adheres to the Secretary of Interior standards for rehab. So you definitely want to get the Historic Preservation Division, which is now part of DCA, the Department of Community Affairs, involved, and they can walk you through that process, because it is a detailed process, but they could walk you through that process. And my understanding is that they have trainings, and we can certainly get you information about those trainings on the tax credits, so you can attend those and get better familiar with those.
And I'm Karin Thornton. I'm the director of the Office of Regional Services at DCA. I will say, with tax credits, DDRLF, any of the programs that we administer at DCA, the early coordination is key. And so, as Cherie mentioned, like, we're able to connect you with resources, maybe even provide you some training opportunities. But I think as you are working with throughout the state of Georgia, as you're working with downtown merchants and property owners, and they are looking to do projects, reach out either to the ODD staff or your regional rep, and we can kind of help guide you through those conversations. Because as Cherie mentioned, the preservation tax credits have certain program requirements that are very specific and nuanced. That's kind of true of all of our programs. So we don't want anyone to do something early days in a project that would render them ineligible for funding. So so reach out if you've got a specific interest. One of the things that I'll say that the regional team does on an annual basis is work on regional workshops to respond to the needs of their communities. And so if there is one that looks like it's bubbling up, that's about the downtown and preservation tools, that might be something that we can work together to schedule.
Okay, thank you. And that would be like on the Board of Ministry website or specifically, or
I'm
Yes.
your person, Tori, if you want to just reach out. This is Tracy.
oh, hi.
Tracy,
Hi, I'm in Region 3.
do y'all know each other, Tracy and Tori, already?
No.
Okay, Tori, so Tracy Sanchez is your DCA regional rep. So she is the first line of defense for you. She's the person that you would go to ask any questions about DCA programs, and she can connect you to the right person or give you, the information that you would need. So definitely y'all need to connect.
Okay, thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, any other questions for Cherie?
Well, I would also say that, there are, based on my background, there are several things that I would like to see happen in the office and would love to get y'all's input as well on some of the things that y'all would like to see our office doing that we aren't already doing. So please shoot me an email if y'all have any ideas, or feel free to give me a call. Some of the things that just are rising to the surface lately, I guess, would be, because of my background in rural Georgia, my love for rural Georgia, I'd love to see the office do more with rural downtowns. We, of course, are going to continue our work with Main Street communities, but we are the Georgia Department of Community Affairs, and we have over 500 communities that we serve. So we aren't just serving our Main Street communities, that we love them lots. We are there for them, but we also need to serve all the other communities throughout the state. So definitely want to do something with rural communities. So stay tuned on that. Some training and educational opportunities for rural downtowns. And then with my background in historic preservation, I would like to partner more with the Historic Preservation Division to do more training on those programs, more training on, second floor residential in downtowns and how to get those approved and through code officials at the local level and that kind of thing. And would also like to see us put together some resource guides. Haven't talked with the staff about this, but these are just some things that I'm thinking about. A resource guide to when there are particularly fires in downtown. And I think that is something that has affected my community of Forsyth. We've recently had a fire on the downtown square. I know Metter is dealing with that as well. So some sort of a resource guide to guide the downtown professional through that process, so that they're not just scrounging around calling anybody and everybody, but they have a more targeted guide on what they should do and the steps involved. So any other ideas like that y'all have, I would love to hear them. So let me know.
Thank you, Cherie. I appreciate it. Or we appreciate it. Any last minute questions before we move on? Awesome. Rebecca, do you want to say hi real quick? Introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Rebecca White. I am the Region 8 rep, and I am sitting in Cordial this morning with Monica.
Love it. Thank you for being on the call. Did I miss any other regional reps? I know Tracy sort of like did it perfect with the slide in for Douglasville. So I just want to make sure I don't miss anybody else.
Good morning. I'm Kelly Lane. I'm the
right in
Regional
front of me.
11
I'm
rep
sorry.
in South Central Georgia.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly. And
Hey,
as a
good morning.
reminder,
This is Heather Sharp. I'm here as well. Heather Sharp with Region 10, which is Southwest Georgia.
okay. Thank you. Y'all are on my page too. I apologize.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much for being part of the call. These are your first line of defense. They're wonderful people. So if you ever have any questions about programs at DCA, don't hesitate to reach out to your regional reps. All right, we're moving on. Ebony, any updates on the planning front?
Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are staying nice and warm. As y'all know, I live in Savannah, and they have been doing the snow dance. Hopefully that, sorry for those who are in North Georgia, it's got to come from y'all, but they have been doing the snow dance here in Savannah. But in terms of strategic planning workshops, I am so excited about the upcoming workshops that we have on deck already. And y'all have been keeping me busy. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so excited to be in this position. And we are pretty much full all the way up through working through May and even looking at June now. So just in case, if you want to plan something with the office, we are now looking at the summer months.
Do you have any? All righty. GDA, who wants to speak for y'all? Any GDA update?
Jason?
Oh, is anybody out there? Am I the guy?
I'm here,
Well,
but Jason, you're ready to go. I just couldn't figure out how to unmute myself.
Sorry, Andy.
No, you're fine. I just hopped on a moment ago.
Well, okay. Look, I'll tell you what. I'll just say this: we had a great planning retreat for the last few days. I think there's some great things in store. We did some site visits on what conference will look like in August. And I'm just looking forward to the year and looking forward to working with Cherie and everyone at Georgia Main Street. You know, anybody out there who needs anything from the communities all across the state, you can reach out to any of us and we'll be happy to help you. But Aundi, if you want to take it from there.
Yeah, I would just echo everything that Jason just said. We are so stinking excited about conference in Gainesville this year. The conference committee and Nicole have already been hard at work, and GMA staff. So it's a lot of really exciting things in store. I will plug the CDP program. We have a few classes coming up next month in Tybee Island on the 18th and the 19th. If you guys have not had an opportunity to participate in any of these classes, they are so incredible. As most of you guys know, we worked really hard with Georgia Power and the Carl Vinson Institute to develop those courses. And I think they apply to every one of us on this call, whether you're a downtown practitioner or not. There's so much great content and information to be learned in those. So if you are a mentor or mentee this year, we're really excited to see what you guys are working on, and hopefully you've had an opportunity to at least email and have some sort of contact with your partner. I'm actually meeting with mine this afternoon, and I'm really excited about that. So just to echo what Jason said, we are here for you guys, whatever that may be. If you have any question, no question is too small or too stupid. We are glad to help. And if we don't know the answer, we will get you guys in contact with hopefully somebody who does.
Thank you. I know that I think I saw Nicole on the call from Gainesville. Do you want to say anything about the conference?
I don't have a lot to say, but we're real excited to have y'all in Gainesville. It was fun having the GDA board here for the last couple of days and just showing them around, looking at facilities. So we're looking forward to putting on a really good conference for y'all. Excited to piece it all together.
Wonderful, thanks. Also, so as far as thank y'all so much, GDA. And then just for a reminder for our office, we're excited to be in Valdosta next week for our training with Deb Turncott on board development and strategic planning. So we're really excited and to see everybody down there who is planning to attend. Our next training on the calendar is going to be May 13th at the Fox Theater in Atlanta. It's going to be, it sounds sort of strange, but it's really, really interesting, and we think it's going to be really beneficial for everybody. It's a woman who studies generations, and essentially what she does is she looks at generations, and her background is communication, so how to communicate to the different generations for as far as fundraising, volunteership, all of those different things. Sometimes we approach everything like we want to be approached or assume, and you have to realize that like every generation receives information or responds to things differently. And so that's kind of what her framework is for the training of how do you fundraise to different generations to get the result that you want? How do you recruit volunteers and some other things? And so we're really excited to host her May 13th at the Fox. And we'll that registration should be going live here in not too long, but we'll make sure it'll be in our weekly newsletter. We'll probably send out a separate blast and talk about it more on our upcoming third Thursdays, but mark that date on the calendar. It's going to be a really great training, and Lee Burns is very excited to host us at the Fox, and she is the hostess with the mostest, so we know it's going to be a wonderful training. And then Helen, anything to add on that? Muted.
Sorry. Yeah, my brains are also fried thanks to assessments. But I was just putting in the chat, it's not too late to register for next week's training. We have a little bit of space left. So if you're a last minute person and kind of forgot about it through the assessment process and you have some time next week, please join us. It'll get you away from the winter storm in the north part of the state, although it will be super cold down here too. But we would love to host you in Valdosta and would love for y'all to come down. I know a lot of you guys have been asking about some board training and how to deal with your boards and how to build better boards. And that's kind of the focus of this training. And it'll also, heads up, we're talking about, or we're going to implement you have to come to one of our hosted in-person trainings for next year. So this would also knock that out at the beginning of the year. You won't have to worry about it the rest of the time. So again, not too late to register. We'd love to have you. And that's it for the trainings. Yeah.
Awesome.
We can move on to assessment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all survived. It's like put to bed. Now our work begins. Thank y'all so much for doing your part. We're excited to read everything that you wrote and look through your drop boxes to see all the great things that you have accomplished over the course of the year. I love it, Ebony. Thank you. Thank you for going the extra mile. I love it. So thank you so much. We know it was a process, but we really appreciate all the work you do throughout the year in your communities and also helping us to tell that story on your behalf through all the work that you put in over the last couple months getting the assessment ready. Presenting communities, you're on deck. So just a reminder, if you are in regions, remind me, Ellen, what are regions this year?
3 and 4.
3 and 4. You should have already signed up for your time slot to present. If you need a friendly reminder, email the office. We'll be able to send you that. Be working on your presentations. A reminder, your presentation isn't due until the day you present. We're really excited to see everybody in person that is presenting this year. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. Remember, it is very much a dialogue, not just a formal presentation. We're there to learn and be excited for you and figure out how we can identify resources that are going to help you in the coming couple years. So if you need your nerves calm, just call us. We'll talk you off the ledge. We're really happy to see everybody. Any questions about presentations from any of the presenting communities on the call? No? Okay, perfect. So we wanted to take this time, and then also just a reminder, we're going to start reviewing everything. We typically get designation notifications out in March, sort of mid to late March. And so it takes us a while to get through all of your information. So be patient with us. Typically your community impact reports, which is all the information you submitted through your monthly reporting throughout the year. We get those to you around that time, if not a little bit earlier. We do get the presenting communities earlier because we present that information in their presentation. But all that information, look for it in your Dropbox sort of mid to late March, and we will send out a notification and talk about it when that is live. And so you can kind of see any feedback we have over the course of the year through your presentation and interaction with our office. And then we really wanted to take this moment to kind of get some feedback from you about the assessment process this year. So everything from the annual the national self-assessment, which having spoken to a few people over the course of the week, I think there were some choice words being said, but anything that we can, help relay to national about the process of the self-assessment and just assessments in general. We really want to hear your feedback. We're always looking for ways to improve and pain points to sort of smooth out. So Ellen, anything to add before we open the floor?
I don't know. I mean, I think you covered it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So any feedback and if y'all don't feel comfortable feeding it in this forum, please always email us, call us. Like, we want to make sure to have that information if you feel like you really want to say something about the process, if you might not feel comfortable sharing in a group. Anybody want to say anything? You all loved it? You want to do it again?
Immediately.
Yeah.
I'll
This is
jump
Tracy.
in. I'm happy. Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say, as the regional rep for Region 3, I'll try to be at as many of the presentations as I can. I see that you guys have scheduled 2 or 3 a day, so it'll be nice full days, and it'll be great just to hear a little more in depth from my point of view, what people are working on in their communities. So I appreciate the invite.
Thank you.
Hey, I'll say on the assessments for national, we've got to figure out the best way to communicate the same material without the time investment it takes to complete it. That was kind of the big hang up. And it's just, I get it. It's we got to collect data. We all want that data, but I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but that's just kind of my take on it. It was good information to communicate. We got to figure out how to make it not so lengthy of a process. The submission. And I really appreciate y'all doing all that for us last time, because y'all did it for how many ever communities there are to figure out how it all works. And that was a really big deal. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, Jason, I noticed on your assessment, and you're right, a couple of the questions are a little bit redundant. I feel like you're saying the same over and over and over again when you're answering these questions, and And there was a survey sent out, was there not, about like the assessment and what that process was for y'all from national, or no? Do it, no?
I
Yes, no.
don't remember seeing a survey about how the assessment was. It could have been, I
Okay.
just don't.
Well, we can definitely pass along the information. I mean, there's things about that assessment that we didn't love too, so.
Anybody else? Too soon? Still recovering? Very much understand that. Okay, I thought we were gonna get like people back, like knocking down the gate trying to describe some stuff. Okay, well, if nobody else has anything to say about assessments, we can just open it up for the floor for general questions, things that you might be struggling with in your community, brags about your community. I think I saw Brittany. Are you on from Washington? I thought I saw you. Maybe not. But anybody have any questions regarding, anything in their communities going on that you kind of want feedback from the group?
I can kick it off, Elizabeth. A manager emailed me this morning and she couldn't make it to the call, but she had some questions, and she said, I do have 2 requests from my fellow Main Streeters. And this is from Michelle Ricketson in Hinesville. She said, Hinesville is looking for ways to overcome vacant building. Blight ordinances, development incentives or ideas or package examples or other suggestions that they don't have a political appetite for a tad at this point. So if there were any pointers or things to suggest and y'all want to talk about it now, I'll be happy to forward along to Michelle.
I mean, I would look at what tax incentives might exist, impact fees, tap fees, things like that, that you can waive that would, try to, recruit some investors in.
Yeah.
When Jennifer did the presentation at conference a couple of years ago with Retail Strategies, I think is the name, Downtown Strategies, something like that. It was incredible. She talked about different tools and incentives. There's always the option of a tax, which I think that should be very last resort. But working with landlords to think creatively and outside of the box on ways to incentivize and make it more feasible for small entrepreneurs.
And I always point people to Jesse Owensby to talk about a blight tax, since they've done that in Cornelia.
We just added a blight tax in Cordele just a couple of months ago. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work out. Unfortunately, we lost our special tax district last year. It didn't pass. 5 years ago, I struggled to get the 51%. And this year, I didn't even get 40%. So that's, matter of fact, I'm going to have to let my part-time person go to make up for the loss of revenue. And I reflected that in the assessment. And one thing I might do is bring back the investment partner. But I'm going to have to wait and see how this blighted property tax goes. We've also reprinted our incentive brochure, and it goes out to all the realtors, chamber, all that. So those are all things, that's what we're struggling with here. Even if somebody wanted to open a business, we don't have the building inventory to put anybody. I don't mean to say we don't have any. We have very little. We have a lot of blight. And so our new city manager, of course, she's 2 years in. She's doing a wonderful job as far as helping us. She's restructured the codes department, and they are very hands-on. And I mean, you hear hammering all over downtown now. So that's a good sign. So those are things that we're trying to overcome in Cordele as well, is to get our blighted property We've done an enterprise zone. We just did that a couple of months ago. The rural zone, unfortunately, did not help us in Cordele. I thought I had several properties that were going to meet it, but it's the W-2 part of it. All of, not all, but most of ours are the owners work the businesses and they don't draw a W-2. So that unfortunately did not help us. But things are getting better. I think 2 years from now, it's going to really be better. So, got a lot of things coming down the pipe. So we'll just see how it goes. But I think Sheree, I'm really excited about what you said about the rural communities. We can't all be Noonan and Valdosta and Sheree, you and I've had this conversation before. The poverty rate here, the high school dropout rate, the teenage pregnancy, our demographics are terrible. And, we're trying to overcome that. And we just can't, it's hard for us to compete with the bigger communities. So, of course, we all fight different battles. Rebecca and I just got through with the Propel meeting. The Propel program was almost as energizing as the Renaissance strategic vision plan that we did as far as getting community leaders excited about downtown. The enthusiasm had kind of waned since 2016. So I've really enjoyed working with the Propel. It's been really good and re-energizing for the community. So, but I think we all fight that blighted property in especially the rural community. So I'm excited to see what you do about that. That'll be awesome.
Monica, for those who might not be familiar with the Propel program, do you want to sort of speak briefly on what that is? And
Rebecca may have to help me out because I cannot remember what the acronym stands for.
I'm not sure I do either.
I know. We've been doing this for a year now, and it's just we picked 3 areas: youth enrichment, downtown, and housing and infrastructure. Those are our 3 areas. And to me, the best part of it was getting the people that haven't been, and I'm speaking for just downtown, it was getting people in the community interested and to the table that have never come before. I won't name any entities because it's not important, but it's helped me out. What the purpose of the program?
So it's a UGA, Carl Vinson Institute program that started about 3 years ago. So they come in and work with rural communities. It's kind of strategic planning. And there's, I don't know what, 9 different communities throughout the state now that are a part of it. But they have a team that comes in and works with the community and kind of narrows down the focus. And it's a 2-year program.
And like I said, the biggest part of it has been the networking to me as far as Cordele. So we did a sip and stroll. Carl Vinson did some renderings for us. And y'all, I've never been able to get these people to an event before, but they turned out and they came and they saw what we were trying to do. Oh, she pulled up the acronym. It's Planning Rural Opportunities for Prosperity and Economic Leadership. So, but it's, people came, local people, and it wasn't a public event. It was invitation only, developers and investors and community leaders, and just to have the people there, and they were engaged, they asked questions, and they seemed excited about our vision for what downtown should be. And a lot of those people have been in Cordele as long as I've been doing Main Street. They've been at their jobs and they've never been to anything before. So it was just exciting to get, because as Elizabeth and Ellen know, I had hit a really bad place last year, just in the job and what was going on within the city commission. Y'all, it was bad. And Elizabeth has listened to me cry on the phone, and it's just been terrible. But getting involved with Propel brought my enthusiasm back. And I actually enjoyed doing the assessment this year because I actually had things to talk about. And look at Elizabeth. I had things to talk about and excitement. So
I don't think anybody ever has said those phrases, so I just love that in general. But the fact that you said it and your like night and day enthusiasm for, sort of the trajectory of your program, it just makes my heart happy. So thank you so much for sharing, Monica.
I mean, I can remember when we did assessment in the 3-ring binders. None of y'all probably, well, I don't know, Elizabeth, you might have been a mate. Do you? Yeah, I can remember the hours you spent at the copy machine. So yeah, but I'm excited, and we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. If we can just keep the momentum going. Tanya's actually working on some events with the train with Sam Shortline. So we're excited to expand that. And I mean, the local people here don't understand the impact that Sam Shortline has on the community, but just the 4 Christmas trains brings like 4,000 people downtown. And we don't have anything else going on that has that economic impact. So we're excited to get with Tanya and get the train to Vidalia. So the future looks good, and I'm excited again.
Wonderful. I couldn't do a better transition. Tanya, the floor is yours. Thank you, Monica.
You're welcome.
Let me see if I can lower my hand. Actually, I wanted to ask Monica about this. I think you called it an incentive package that you send to the realtors and your chambers. Is that, excuse me, is that on your website? Up, you're muted.
Okay. Rebecca's the IT person today. No, we are going to update the website probably around March, and it will be on there then.
Can you send me that?
Oh yeah, I've got it on my computer. I'll be glad to send it to you. It's just waiving tapping fees, business license fees, alcohol application fees, not the license, just the application fee, and the rural zone information, the enterprise zone information, those kinds of things. But Carl Vinson actually did it for us. We just had to change some stuff and update it. So now we've got to get it reprinted. But yes, I'll send you what we have had, and then I'll let you know what we changed.
Thank you, Monica.
Rebecca, that list is on your website though. It says incentives include. So the list is there itself, your incentives list. Tanya, like if you wanted to get like a straight list of it, or if anybody on the call, yeah, it's on there.
Okay. Yeah, we are working with Cordial and Americas, trying to get Sam Shortline to come, possibly during our Onion Festival weekend. And yeah, that could be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about it. I had a meeting with K1 from Americas and Monica and Chris and Cordial and the mayor and Americas, and I thought it was going to be like a little 15-minute chat, and it turned into an hour and a half of me writing notes the whole time. My little wheels were spinning, steam was coming out of my ears, I think. But anyway, so we're trying to see if we can kind of make that happen. We're excited about that.
Thank you. Any other questions? If not, I was going to maybe toss it to Jay. I feel like Jason has had a lot of airtime on this call, but kind of fresh on my mind from the GDA board retreat. Jason, is there anything that you wanted to share on behalf of the legislative community for GDA? I know a lot of stuff was talked about engaging the membership, and so I didn't know if you wanted to use this opportunity to mention anything that you and the committee had talked about.
Yeah, sure. So, one of the things that we really got involved with last year was legislative advocacy, and we're wanting to carry that forward. Georgia Municipal Association has a great lobbying arm, and they, lobby on behalf of Georgia cities, and we are wanting to do the same thing for Georgia downtowns. I think much of the state legislature recognizes the importance of downtowns, and we want to communicate how the bills that are coming before the legislature affects us specifically. So, the session just opened yesterday or the day before, something like that. But coming up is a big, conference, Georgia Cities United, sorry. And on the Monday, there is a legislative breakfast, and then you take a bus over to the Capitol and you have an opportunity to talk to the state officials about what's important to you and your communities. So we'll be attending that. I would encourage everyone to attend to that. There is a fee for the breakfast. I think that's how you get your badge to get over to the Capitol, but I think you could probably just go to the Capitol if you wanted to. But I think it's like $105, and you get to go eat breakfast, hear some presentation. Georgia Main Street, I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't know if that would count for their training time or not, but anyway, the going over to the Capitol is super special, and you get to get a picture with the governor, with all of the other downtown professionals. But beyond that, we've got a advocacy agenda that is put together, and we'll be sending that out to the member communities soon, and really to all of our communities soon. And it just talks about the things that we know of right now that are important to downtown. And it's call your representative. That's kind of all we're asking to do. Share that document with your representative. We'll be listening on Fridays. There is a legislative briefing that GMA puts out for communities, and it's webinar based. So we'll sit in on that. And if there's anything that pops up during session that we need to say, hey, don't do that, or yes, that's really great, let's go do that. We'll let you know, and you can reach out to your representatives directly.
When is that day at the Capitol?
Let me see. I'll put it in the chat, but I think it's the 27th. I'll verify it.
Okay.
And I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you, Jason. Tracy, did you want to say something about what you had put in the chat?
Sure. I thought Cinderella might be on here, but I don't think I see her. I attended McDonough's board retreat last week, and they were just really struggling with, a designer helping them step into their new signage space with digital elements. And the designer wanted to put ads on it, and that would be the trade-off, and it would be free and installed and landscaped and yada, yada. So they got into this big discussion about whether they even need digital or whether they want to, represent themselves with historic elements on their signage. And so they're really struggling with it. And I thought that maybe Cinderella would jump on and see who else had, recently adopted any kind of gateway and wayfinding ordinances that help them figure out how to represent their community and update their look at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I think everyone's brains are fried from the assessment. Is the sense I'm getting from this call. As far as Tracy, from what I've seen, it kind of just depends on where exactly they are in the city. Sort of as far as if it's gateways, I would say by and large tend to shy away from digital. I don't see a lot of digital signs in the space, whether even if it's a gateway signage for a city or, especially downtown, especially if it's a historic downtown, we do not see a lot of that. We do see digital. It's more of just sort of like almost like those like tourism kiosks that you see that sort of are interactive. for multiple reasons, just for general aesthetic, less maintenance. The more moving parts something has, the more expensive, and the upkeep and everything like that. And it might have a digital component, like say for like announcements and stuff. But again, that typically is more of like if it's a convention center and there's something there speaking specifically to maybe an event that's happening in a specific place. By and large, we don't see a lot of digital signage, as far as just me kind of thinking about, the state as a whole running around. And then especially considering downtown's most places if there is digital signage that shows up, we typically see the city retroactively passing a sign ordinance if they don't have one to prevent it in the future. So I think I'm glad that they're thinking about it and having a discussion before they sort of go forward. And I think, that's the best practice of like really, playing the tape forward to see what that looks like in the future. Because if the other thing is if the city's doing it, it would be harder if they didn't support businesses to necessarily want to have that everywhere. The businesses would kind of look back and be like, well, the city's doing it. It's, all that type of stuff. And so if there's any other conversations that take place, anybody from our office is happy to kind of speak to that. I'm sad that we couldn't be at the retreat, but anything that came out of it, please let us know if we can help with the discussion.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Carly said they're working on signage in Milledgeville. It's not digital, but they have some banks that if they need to promote things, they utilize that. And I think that's a great sort of cooperative effort of things already in existence to kind of utilize versus, adding to the Carmine was very against visual clutter. He was even like, there's too many street signs. Get rid of the street signs. Too much. It's too much. So I think he would support the thought of sort of less is more.
And I think they were lured in by this, free offer from a designer because it's quite expensive. But then they realized they should put on the brakes and not necessarily just jump because it was free. And then they seem to be divided on, they had 10 or 12 locations in parks throughout the community, and they served more like a park tourism kiosk. And those seem to have relevance, but whether they needed to be digital or not, so if it's a new conversation, I'm sure they would appreciate anybody reaching out that's already kind of gone through that, and maybe even a field trip, to see if somebody has some in place that they think work well.
Thank you, Tracy. All right. I don't want to force it, but any other questions? We can always leave a little bit early. Cherie, do you have anything that you kind of want to add at the end? Or
I don't.
Belinda, I knew Belinda. Belinda, you always have something.
I can't find the raise hand thing. I don't know where it went, but anyway, I did put in the chat. I am trying to create or at least craft a job description. It would be for a part-time person in my office. If anyone has anything like that maybe if I get multiples and I can pick and pull from different ones, this person would basically, it's like I would turn loose of several different things that are going on, and that would be their baby. So it's not necessarily always assisting me with what I'm already doing, but it would be me removing some things from my plate to give to this person so that then I can start concentrating more about being in the community, being with the businesses and things like that. If you have one, I would love to see it. And I put my email in there, and but I would love to see what you've got. It needs to be a job description. It needs to be a job description that basically does let the person know they need to fly by the seat of their pants and work with Lucy Ricardo every day of their life. If they can't do that, they don't need to come and talk to me, because that's my world.
Hello,
Carly said she'd send you one.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Also, I do want to say, changing the subject, but just want to say thanks so much to Elizabeth and Ellen and Ebony and Tess for picking up the slack since my job was vacated back in August, I think. So thank y'all for that. Elizabeth, especially for stepping in as interim director. I really appreciate all y'all have done. Thank you. And I look forward to working with everybody.
Thank you, Cherie. And Belinda, I would say Jason said use ChatGPT. Like, there's no shame in that. honestly. But also I would say, don't limit yourself when you're looking for information. Don't limit yourself to just looking for part-time job descriptions, kind of job descriptions in general. If you're pulling pieces from it anyway, it could kind of be like, oh, I really like the verbiage here. They put this well. If you're looking for just part-time, you might be limiting the sort of inspiration you're finding. So make sure to go on, our website. We have examples, and that way you can kind of like, you can sort of like make your own. And then honestly, you could always do ChatGPT, like, hey, this is a full-time job description, make it into a part-time, like different
And I
things
should
like
have
that.
said that. I just want a job description. This person would probably budget-wise start off as a part-time person, but as the need is shown, it could possibly move into full-time. So I'm not going to create the job description that says this is a part-time. I mean, these are the job description, and then it will then make the comment about, the hours and things like that, and based on events and activities that are at hand, that kind of thing. But no, I'm not gonna, I want them full-time. That's the goal. And so I just need to show the necessity of that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Belinda. If anybody, send stuff Belinda's way. I guess we can adjourn a little bit early today. As always, our crew will stay on a little bit after if you have any other questions you want to ask us. And then if not, then guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your January. We'll see you in February, and we'll see a few select people next week, which are really excited. And if you have any questions, you know where to find us. Bye, everyone.